5 crumpled dollars. That's all Kira Douglas has left between dignity and desperation as she sits in Romano's bistro, watching her 8-year-old daughter Naomi color purple flowers on a paper napkin. The waitress hovers nearby, menu in hand, probably wondering why this woman keeps staring at the prices like they're written in a foreign language. Kira's hands tremble as she smooths the wrinkled bills under her palm. $5 won't cover 2 meals. Hell, it barely covers 1 appetizer in this place. But backing out now means explaining to Naomi why Mommy lied about their special dinner out. Across the dimly lit restaurant, a man in an expensive suit notices her distress. Adrian Holt, though Kira doesn't know his name yet, watches this young mother struggle with something as simple as ordering food. He sees the way she bites her lip, calculating. The way she whispers, "just water," when the waitress approaches. Naomi holds up her napkin masterpiece. "Look, Mama. Pretty flowers, like the ones we'll grow when we get our house." Kira's heart shatters. Their apartment got condemned last week. They're sleeping on her friend's couch, and Naomi still believes in fairy tales. Adrian rises from his table, wallet in hand. He doesn't know he's about to change 2 lives forever, or that the woman counting her last $5 will soon hold the power to destroy everything he's built. Ever been down to your last dollar, praying no one notices? Subscribe, because the next twist will leave you breathless. 6 months ago, Kira Douglas was studying for her nursing finals, dreaming of a steady paycheck and health insurance for her daughter. Then Connor, Naomi's father, cleaned out their joint account and vanished, leaving behind only a note. "I'm not ready for this life. Not ready." As if raising a child was something you could postpone like a dentist appointment. The eviction notice came first. Then the car repossession. Her dreams of becoming a nurse died when she couldn't afford the final semester. Now she works the breakfast shift at Mel's Diner and stocks shelves at Quick Stop until midnight, surviving on 3 hours of sleep and pure stubbornness. Tonight was supposed to be different. Her co-worker Rosa set her up on a blind date. He's sweet, stable, works in accounting. Rosa even offered to babysit, but Naomi begged to come along. How could Kira explain that Mommy needed to find them a new daddy because she was failing at everything else? So here they sit in Romano's bistro, pretending they belong among the cloth napkins and wine glasses. The date stood her up, naturally. Kira texted him twice, no response. Another disappointment in a year full of them. "Mom, are you sad?" Naomi's voice cuts through her spiral of shame. "No, baby. Just thinking." Kira forces a smile, the same fake brightness she's perfected since Connor left. "You hungry?" Naomi nods eagerly. "Can we get the spaghetti?" "With the big meatballs." $14. Kira memorized every price on that menu. She does quick math. Naomi's meal, a drink, tax tip. $22 minimum. Her $5 suddenly feels heavier than lead. "How about we share something smaller? Maybe the soup?" Naomi's face falls slightly, but she nods. Always so understanding, this kid. Too understanding for 8 years old. That's when Kira notices him. The man in the expensive suit walking toward their table. Tall, dark hair graying at the temples. Kind eyes that seem to see straight through her carefully constructed facade. He's probably going to complain about Naomi's colored pencils scattered across the white tablecloth. But instead of criticism, he stops beside their booth and smiles at Naomi. "Those are beautiful flowers. You're quite the artist." Naomi beams. "Thank you. Mama says I get my talent from my grandma." The stranger's gaze shifts to Kira, and something passes between them. Recognition of struggle, maybe. Or pity. She can't decide which would be worse. He extends his hand. "Adrian Holt. Mind if I join you?" Before Adrian can sit down, a loud voice cuts through the restaurant's gentle hum. "Kira? Jesus, I'm 30 minutes late and you're still here. Her blind date, Trevor, finally arrived. He slides into the booth without removing his wrinkled jacket or apologizing. His eyes immediately land on Naomi, and his expression sours like spoiled milk. You brought the kid? Rosa didn't mention that part. He signals the waitress with an impatient snap. Scotch, neat. And the ribeye, medium rare. $48. Kira watched him order without even glancing at her, let alone asking what she wanted. Her $5 suddenly felt microscopic. Naomi, why don't you color some more? Kira whispers, but her daughter's already studying Trevor with a keen perception kids have for adults who don't like them. Trevor leans back, scanning Kira's thrift store dress and scuff shoes. So Rosa says you're between jobs? That's code for unemployed, right? Heat floods Kira's cheeks. I work 2 jobs, actually. Diner and retail? He snorts. That's not career planning, sweetheart. That's survival mode. The table beside them goes quiet. Other diners pretend not to listen while hanging on every cruel word. Naomi stops coloring. My mama works really hard. I'm sure she does, kiddo. Trevor's tone drips condescension. But working hard and working smart are different things. Something inside Kira snaps. She's endured months of humiliation, evictions, rejections, pity. But watching this stranger belittle her in front of her daughter crosses a line written in permanent ink. You know what? We're done here. Trevor shrugs, already cutting into his steak. Your loss. Good luck finding someone who'll take on a single mom with baggage. Kira grabs Naomi's hand and stands, her chair scraping loudly against the floor. Every eye in Romano's watches as she walks toward the exit, her daughter's confused questions trailing behind them. But she doesn't see Adrian Holt quietly following them to the door, or the way his jaw tightens as he processes what just happened. He walked out, leaving her humiliated. But someone else had been watching. Don't miss what happens next. Subscribe now. Kira makes it 3 steps outside before the tears come. Not the pretty movie tears, the ugly, shoulder-shaking kind that years of held-back frustration finally demand. Mama, why was that man so mean? Naomi's small hand finds hers. Some people just are, baby. Kira wipes her eyes with the back of her hand, tasting salt and failure. Come on, let's go home. But home is Rosa's couch, and Rosa will ask how the date went. And Kira can't face explaining another disaster tonight. Wait. They turn. Adrian stands in Romano's doorway, his expensive suit somehow making him look less intimidating in the streetlight's glow. You left this inside. He extends a small bag, Romano's takeout containers. Kira frowns. We didn't order anything. The spaghetti and meatballs. For Naomi, his voice stays steady, matter of fact. And chocolate cake. The waitress mentioned it was your favorite, sweetheart. Naomi gasps. Really? For me? Someone already paid for it. Seemed wrong to waste it. Kira's stomach twists with embarrassment and gratitude fighting for space. I can't accept charity. It's not charity. It's leftovers. Adrian kneels to Naomi's level. You know what I learned about angels when I was your age? Naomi shakes her head, wide-eyed. Sometimes they don't have wings. Sometimes they just show up when you need them most. Kira's breath catches. She'd whispered almost those exact words to Naomi during their worst nights, about angels watching over them, keeping them safe when everything felt impossible. Adrian stands, meeting Kira's stare. Something passes between them again, deeper this time. Recognition, maybe, or the strange comfort of being understood by a complete stranger. Not angels, he says softly. Just someone who knows what it feels like to eat alone. The words hit Kira like a gentle punch to the chest. This man, with his perfect suit and confident manner, knows loneliness? It seems impossible until she looks closer at his eyes. Really looks. There's something hollow there. Something that expensive clothes and restaurant meals can't fill. Thank you, she whispers, accepting the bag. This is incredibly kind. Kindness is free, Adrian replies. Everything else costs too much. They find themselves back in Romano's, this time at Adrian's corner table. Naomi attacks her spaghetti with the enthusiasm only hungry 8-year-olds possess, while Kira picks at her portion, still processing this stranger's generosity. So you're really not some creepy restaurant stalker? She asks, attempting lightness. Adrian chuckles, a warm sound that surprises her. I prefer mysterious benefactor. Sounds more distinguished. Mysterious billionaire benefactor, Naomi adds through a mouthful of meatball, making both adults laugh. Billionaire. Kira's fork pauses midway to her mouth. That's quite an imagination you have there, kiddo. Adrian's smile falters for just a second, so briefly that only someone watching closely would catch it. Kira catches it. Tell me about nursing, he says, smoothly changing subjects. That's what you were studying? The question catches her off guard. Most people, when they learn about her abandoned dreams, offer pity or advice. Adrian just waits, genuinely interested. Pediatric nursing. I wanted to work with kids like Naomi, make hospital stays less scary. She shrugs. Silly maybe. Not silly. Essential. Adrian's response comes quick, certain. The nurses who cared for he stops, reconsiders. The best medical professionals aren't the ones with the fanciest degrees. They're the ones who see patients as people, not problems. Something in his tone suggests personal experience with hospitals, with loss. Kira files the observation away. What about you? What do you do? Business consulting. Helping companies avoid mistakes. He deflects with practiced ease. Nothing as noble as nursing. Naomi looks up from her chocolate cake. My mama's the smartest person in the world. She knows all the state capitals and can fix anything that breaks. I believe it, Adrian says, and the simple conviction in his voice makes Kira's chest tighten with unexpected emotion. When was the last time someone believed in her capabilities instead of focusing on her failures? You don't know me, she says quietly. I know you're raising a remarkable daughter on your own. I know you haven't asked me for anything, even though you clearly need help. I know you ordered the cheapest thing on the menu so she could eat. Adrian leans forward slightly. That tells me everything I need to know about your character. For the first time in months, Kira feels seen. Really, truly seen. The restaurant begins to empty around them, but their conversation deepens, like roots finding water. Adrian listens, actually listens, when Kira talks about her dreams of going back to school, of giving Naomi stability, of proving that single mothers can be more than society's cautionary tales. What about your dreams? Kira asks, surprising herself with the question. Adrian's expression grows distant. I used to dream about having a family, coming home to chaos, toys scattered everywhere, someone practicing piano badly, arguments over bedtime. He smiles sadly. Boring dreams, really. Used to. Life had other plans. The weight in those 4 words tells Kira everything and nothing. She recognizes grief when she sees it, has worn it herself since Connor left, since her father died, since every door slammed in her face. I'm sorry, she says simply. Don't be. We all carry something. Adrian's gaze finds hers. The question is whether we let it define us or refine us. Naomi, who's been surprisingly quiet during the adult conversation, suddenly perks up. Are you sad like Mama sometimes gets? Kira's face flushes. Naomi. It's okay, Adrian says gently. Yes, I get sad sometimes. But you know what helps? Naomi shakes her head. Meeting people who remind me that good things still happen. Like mamas who work 2 jobs for their daughters. And daughters who draw beautiful flowers on napkins. Naomi beams, then grows thoughtful. My mama cries sometimes when she thinks I'm sleeping. But she always makes me breakfast the next morning and tells me jokes. Kira wants to disappear into the restaurant floor. Her most private moments, exposed by her too observant daughter. But Adrian doesn't look at her with pity. Instead, his expression holds something that looks like respect. That's what brave people do, he tells Naomi. They take care of others, even when they're hurting inside. The simple validation nearly undoes Kira completely. When was the last time someone called her brave instead of broken? The evening winds down too quickly. Adrian walks them to Rosa's apartment building, carrying Naomi when her small legs get tired. At the front door, he kneels to say goodbye. Will we see you again, mister? Naomi asks with the directness that makes children both wonderful and terrifying. Adrian's eyes meet Kira's over Naomi's head. The question hangs between them, loaded with possibility and fear. Would you believe a billionaire could relate to a single mom with $5? Comment below, guilty or not guilty of judging too soon. 3 days pass without word from Adrian. Kira tells herself she's relieved. Rich strangers don't just appear in struggling single mothers' lives without wanting something in return. That's what Rosa keeps reminding her during their morning shift at Mel's Diner. I'm telling you, girl, men like that don't rescue women like us. Rosa wipes down the counter with aggressive swipes. They collect them, use them up, then move on to the next charity case. It wasn't like that, Kira protests, but doubt creeps in anyway. Maybe Adrian's kindness was just entertainment, watching the poor woman stumble through dinner conversation. Then where is he? Rosa challenges. 3 days, no call, no text. Rich men ghost better than anyone because they can afford to. That afternoon, Naomi bounds off the school bus, clutching an envelope with her name written in careful script. Look, Mama. The nice man from the restaurant sent me a letter. Kira's hands tremble as she opens it. Inside, a simple note. Thank you for sharing your beautiful flowers with me. You reminded me that art comes from the heart, not expensive supplies. Keep drawing. Your friend, Adrian. Tucked beneath the note, a set of professional colored pencils and a sketch pad. Can I use them? Naomi asks, eyes bright with possibility. Kira stares at the gifts. No strings attached, no expectations, just kindness for kindness' sake. When was the last time someone did something nice for Naomi without wanting credit or recognition? But Rosa's warnings echo in her head. Rich men don't save poor women. They use them. Maybe we should return these, Kira says carefully. But why? They're for me. Naomi's confusion cuts deep. He said I'm a good artist. Kira looks at her daughter. Really looks. Naomi's worn backpack, her 2 small shoes, the way she makes the best of everything without complaining. When did Kira become so afraid of hope that she'd deny her child a simple gift? You're right, baby. They are for you. She tucks the note into her purse, hiding it like a secret she's not ready to examine. But that night, when Naomi falls asleep surrounded by new drawings, Kira pulls it out and reads it again. And again. The Riverside Elementary Talent Show wasn't supposed to be fancy. Just folding chairs in the gymnasium, parents with smartphones, and kids singing off-key into a borrowed microphone. But when Kira arrives with Naomi, she notices something different. New stage lights, a proper sound system, programs printed on glossy paper instead of photocopied handouts. Looks like someone donated big money, another parent mentions. Anonymous sponsor, they said. Kira gets that familiar twisting feeling in her stomach, the one that shows up when coincidences feel less than coincidental. Naomi disappears backstage with the other performers, leaving Kira scanning the crowd for familiar faces. She finds one in the back row, partially hidden behind a pillar. Adrian. He notices her stare and waves, that same gentle smile from Romano's. But instead of approaching, he stays put, clearly trying not to disrupt her evening. The show begins. Kids stumble through magic tricks and piano pieces, while proud parents cheer. Then Naomi takes the stage in her best dress, a thrift store find that Kira spent 2 hours hemming. Her daughter's voice, clear and sweet, fills the gymnasium as she sings Somewhere Over the Rainbow. The new sound system carries every note perfectly, and for 3 minutes, Naomi sounds like the star she's always believed herself to be. When the song ends, the applause thunders. Naomi glows under the professional stage lights, taking her bow like she was born for this moment. After the show, she runs straight past Kira to Adrian. "Did you hear me? Was I good?" "You were magnificent," Adrian says, kneeling to her level. A natural performer. Other parents notice the interaction, whispered conversations about the well-dressed stranger talking to their children. Kira feels their eyes, their judgment, their curiosity. "You sponsored this, didn't you?" she asks when Naomi runs off to find her friends. "I wanted her to have proper lights for her debut." Adrian's expression stays innocent. Every artist deserves their moment to shine. "You can't just show up and fix everything," Kira says, but her tone lacks conviction. "I'm not trying to fix anything. I just believe in dreams." The simple statement disarms her completely. What would you do? Accept help from a stranger or protect your pride? Comment below. Your answer says more than you think. "It's just spaghetti," Adrian had promised over the phone. No strings, no expectations. Naomi mentioned she liked cooking shows. But standing in the marble lobby of the Meridian Tower, Kira realizes just spaghetti means something entirely different when you're taking a private elevator to the 52nd floor. The penthouse doors open to reveal floor-to-ceiling windows showcasing the entire city. Naomi presses her face against the glass, breath fogging the surface, as she counts the tiny cars below. "It's like being in the clouds," she gasps. Kira feels dizzy, and not from the height. The apartment is beautiful, all clean lines and expensive furniture, but it feels more like a museum than a home. No family photos, no clutter, no evidence that anyone actually lives here. Second thoughts. Adrian asks, reading her hesitation. "This is a lot," she admits. "We can order pizza and eat on the floor if it helps." His tone stays light, but she catches the underlying worry. He wants them to be comfortable. The kitchen smells like garlic and herbs. Adrian moves around the space with surprising ease, checking a simmering sauce, while Naomi examines his collection of cooking gadgets. "You really cook?" Kira asks. "Had to learn. Restaurants get lonely after a while." He pauses, wooden spoon halfway to his mouth for tasting. "My wife used to say I'd starve without her. Turns out she was wrong about that." The casual mention of his wife creates a pocket of silence. Kira wants to ask questions, but senses the topic requires careful handling. Over dinner, Naomi chatters about school, her friends, her dreams of being on television someday. Adrian listens with the focused attention most adults reserve for other adults, asking follow-up questions and remembering details from previous conversations. "Tell me about your family," Kira ventures as they finish eating. Adrian's fork stills against his plate. "Car accident. 3 years ago. Elena and Sophie were coming home from Sophie's piano recital." His voice stays steady, but his knuckles whiten around his water glass. "Drunk driver ran a red light." "How old was she?" "Sophie. 7. Same age as Naomi when we met." The connection hits Kira like a physical blow. No wonder he'd been drawn to them at Romano's, a young mother and her daughter, struggling alone. They represented everything he'd lost. "I'm so sorry," she whispers. "Money can't buy back time," Adrian says quietly. "Can't buy back laughter in empty rooms. All it does is make the silence more expensive." After dinner, Naomi falls asleep on Adrian's leather sofa, exhausted from excitement and a full belly. They cover her with a cashmere throw and move to the kitchen, speaking in hushed tones while the city lights twinkle beyond the windows. "Tell me about Naomi's father," Adrian says gently. Kira's body tenses. "What about him?" She never mentions him. Most kids that age talk about both parents, even absent ones. The observation stings because it's true. Naomi has learned not to ask about Connor, has stopped expecting birthday cards or bedtime calls that never come. "He left when things got complicated," Kira says, choosing her words carefully. "Some people aren't built for responsibility." "Complicated how?" She almost tells him, almost explains about Connor's gambling debts, his promises to change, the way he'd sweet-talk his way back into their bed and their bank account, how he'd stolen her tuition money along with her trust. But sharing that story means revealing her own stupidity, how she'd believed his lies, ignored the red flags, chosen love over logic until there was nothing left to choose. Does it matter? He's gone. Adrian studies her face, clearly picking up on everything she's not saying. But instead of pressing, he simply nods. Some stories are harder to tell than others. They fall into comfortable silence, watching Naomi sleep. She looks so peaceful here, so safe. For a moment, Kira lets herself imagine what it might be like, coming home to this view, this quiet luxury, this man who listens without judgment. Then Naomi stirs, blinking awake with a confusion of unfamiliar surroundings. "Mama." "Right here, baby." Kira smooths her daughter's hair. "Time to go home." "But I like it here." Naomi sits up, looking between the adults with the calculating expression she gets when processing complex social dynamics. "Adrian, are you going to be my daddy now?" The question lands like a grenade in the quiet room. Kira's face burns with mortification while Adrian goes completely still. "Naomi, we've talked about this. But you like each other. I can tell." Naomi's logic is 8-year-old simple. "And he's nice to us. And he has a big house where I could have my own room." Kira wants to disappear, wants to grab her daughter and run back to Rosa's cramped apartment where life is difficult but predictable. Adrian recovers first. Being someone's daddy is a very big job, Naomi. It's not something you just decide quickly. "But you be good at it," Naomi insists. "You're already good at making Mama smile." The silence that follows feels heavy enough to crack the expensive windows. Kira's hands shake as she reads the text message for the third time. "We need to talk. Tomorrow. Come alone, or I'll make things complicated for everyone. Connor." 6 months. 6 months of peace, of slowly rebuilding their lives, of daring to hope that maybe, just maybe, they were safe from her past mistakes. Now Connor's back, and the timing feels like a calculated blow. She deletes the message, but can't erase the dread crawling up her spine. Connor never just needs to talk. He schemes, manipulates, takes whatever he wants, and leaves destruction in his wake. At work, she burns 3 orders and spills coffee on Mrs. Henderson's favorite customer. Rosa finally corners her during their break. "Girl, what's got you so twisted up? You look like you've seen a ghost." "Worse. I've heard from one." That evening, while Naomi practices her spelling words, Kira's phone buzzes again. This time it's a photo, Connor standing outside Naomi's school. That same smug smile that once made her heart race and now makes her stomach turn. The message underneath chills her blood. "Beautiful girl. Looks just like her daddy. Be a shame if she had to choose between parents." Kira's vision blurs. Connor left them with nothing, disappeared for months without a word. And now he wants back in? What changed? What does he need badly enough to resurface? She thinks about Adrian, about the way he listens to Naomi's stories, the careful way he's building trust, without pushing for more than they're ready to give. Connor will destroy that. will poison every good thing they've found with his lies and manipulation. Mama, you're crying, Naomi says softly, looking up from her homework. Just tired, baby. Long day. But as she tucks Naomi into bed that night, her daughter's innocent question from Adrian's penthouse echoes. Are you going to be my daddy now? Not if Connor has anything to say about it. The next morning, Kira's worst nightmare becomes reality. Her phone rings during the breakfast rush at Mel's Diner. Miss Douglas? This is Patricia Wells from Holt Industries. Mr. Holt would like to see you in his office immediately. A gentleman is here claiming to know you and your daughter. Connor found Adrian. The two worlds she's desperately tried to keep separate are about to collide. A secret this big can tear lives apart. Don't just watch. Follow this story so you're not left behind when the truth breaks wide open. Adrian's office occupies the entire top floor of the Holt Industries building, all glass and steel and power. But today, it feels like a battlefield. Connor sprawls in the leather chair across from Adrian's desk like he owns the place, that familiar cocky grin playing across his lips. He's cleaned up since Kira last saw him. Expensive haircut, designer clothes that probably cost more than she makes in a month. Whatever scheme he's running now, it's paying well. So you're the sugar daddy, Connor says, looking Adrian up and down. Got to admit, Kira always did have expensive taste. Adrian's jaw tightens, but his voice stays level. You're Naomi's father, guilty as charged. Though I prefer biological parent with legal rights. Connor examines his manicured nails. Funny how Kira forgot to mention me. Makes a man wonder what else she's hiding. What do you want? Straight to business. I like that. Connor leans forward. See, I've been doing some research on you, Adrian Holt. Billionaire philanthropist, tragic widower, bleeding heart for charity cases. Very touching story. The mention of Adrian's family makes something dangerous flash in his eyes. Connor doesn't notice, or doesn't care. Here's the thing though. Kira's not some innocent victim you can rescue. She's got debts, bad decisions, a history of picking losers. You think you know her? You don't know the half of it. I know she's a good mother. Is she? Then why hasn't she told you about the gambling? The loans? The reason I had to disappear for a while. Connor's smile turns predatory. Oh yeah, there's a lot my baby mama hasn't shared with her new boyfriend. Adrian stands slowly, his presence filling the room like gathering storm clouds. Get out. Relax, billionaire boy. I'm not here to cause trouble. I just want what's mine. Naomi isn't property. No, but she is my daughter. And if Kira thinks she can just replace me with some rich guy playing house, she's about to learn otherwise. Connor rises, straightening his jacket. Tell her I'll be in touch. We have a lot to discuss. After he leaves, Adrian stares out at the city skyline, processing everything Connor revealed. The gambling, the loans, the secrets. For the first time since meeting Kira, he wonders what else she hasn't told him. Would you forgive a past like Kira's, or walk away? Think carefully before you answer. Kira arrives at Adrian's penthouse that evening carrying the weight of Connor's threats and her own terrible choices. She's practiced her confession a dozen times during the subway ride, but facing Adrian across his dining table, the words stick in her throat. Act normal, she tells herself. Give Naomi one more perfect evening before everything falls apart. The chicken smells amazing, she says, her voice too bright, too forced. Adrian studies her with those perceptive eyes that seem to see straight through her carefully constructed facade. Everything all right? Of course. Why wouldn't it be? Naomi chatters about her day, blissfully unaware of the tension crackling between the adults. She tells Adrian about her art project, about the new girl at school, about the butterfly she saw during recess. And then this scary man was watching us, Naomi adds casually, cutting her chicken into tiny pieces. He followed us all the way to Rose's house. Kira's fork clatters against her plate. What scary man? The one with the mean smile. He kept staring at me. Naomi looks up, confused by her mother's sudden panic. Did I do something wrong? No, baby. You did nothing wrong. Kira's vision tunnels. Connor isn't just making threats. He's stalking them. Watching Naomi. Making his presence known. Kira. Adrian's voice seems to come from far away. She realizes she's hyperventilating, her chest tight and vision spotting. I need some air. Adrian follows her to the balcony, leaving Naomi to finish her dinner. The evening breeze carries the sounds of traffic 50 floors below, but all Kira can hear is her own thundering heartbeat. Tell me about the scary man, Adrian says quietly. She wants to lie, wants to protect him from the mess she's dragged into his perfect, ordered life. But Connor already found him, already poisoned the well with half-truths and implications. His name is Connor. He's Naomi's father. I know. He came to see me today. The admission hits her like a physical blow. What did he tell you? That you have secrets. That you're not who I think you are. Adrian's tone stays neutral, but she hears the question underneath. He's right. The words taste like ashes. I'm not the person you think I am. I've made terrible choices, trusted the wrong people, let my daughter down in ways that... He won't touch either of you, Adrian interrupts, his voice turning steel hard. Not while I'm here. The promise should comfort her. Instead, it terrifies her more than Connor's threats. Because now Adrian's involved, whether she wanted him to be or not. The custody papers arrive on a Tuesday, delivered to Mel's diner during the breakfast rush. Kira signs for them with shaking hands while Rosa covers her tables. Both women knowing that official documents never bring good news. Petition for emergency custody. The legal language blurs together, but certain phrases jump out like venomous snakes. Unfit living conditions, financial instability, history of poor judgment, failure to provide stable home environment. Connor isn't just demanding visitation. He wants full custody. This is insane, Rosa says, reading over Kira's shoulder. He disappeared for months. What judge would? One who sees a homeless single mother with 2 jobs and no savings going up against a man who can afford real lawyers. Kira's voice comes out hollow, defeated. He's been planning this. The nice clothes, the research on Adrian, he's building a case. Her phone buzzes. Adrian's name on the screen makes her stomach lurch. I heard about the custody filing, he says without preamble. I'm hiring you a legal team. Adrian, no. The best family law attorneys in the city. Don't worry about the cost. I can't let you do that. She steps outside the diner for privacy, ignoring Rosa's concerned look. I can't owe you. This isn't about owing. This is about protecting Naomi. By fighting a battle I can't win? Connor has something on me, Adrian. Something that could destroy any chance I have of keeping her. Silence stretches between them, heavy with unspoken questions. What kind of something? He asks finally. Before she can answer, she hears Naomi's voice in the background of their apartment, except Naomi should be at school. Panic floods her system as she realizes someone else is talking to her daughter. Mama? Naomi's voice, small and scared, comes through the speaker of her phone. But not Adrian's phone, Connor's. Kira? We really need to talk. Tonight. 8 o'clock. Riverside Park, North Entrance. Come alone, or our conversation might need to include my daughter. The line goes dead. Kira stares at her phone, Connor's words echoing in her head. Our daughter. Not your daughter or Naomi. Our daughter. Mama, are we going to lose each other? Naomi had asked that morning, sensing the fear Kira tried so hard to hide. Now, standing outside Mel's diner with custody papers in one hand and the memory of Connor's threats in her head, Kira faces the terrible possibility that her 8-year-old daughter might be more perceptive than she'd hoped. The war for Naomi's future is about to begin, and Kira isn't sure she has the weapons to win it. The courtroom feels like a gladiator arena, all cold marble and harsh fluorescent lights that make everyone look sick. Kira sits beside her public defender, a tired woman with kind eyes and an overflowing caseload, while Connor's team of expensive suits arranges their weapons across 3 tables. Judge Martinez calls the session to order, her voice cutting through the whispered conversations of observers who've come to watch the poor single mother get destroyed by the system. Connor's lawyer, a shark in Armani, rises first. Your Honor, my client seeks custody of his daughter, who has been living in unsuitable conditions with a mother whose lifestyle choices consistently endanger the child's welfare. The words hit Kira like physical blows. Unsuitable, in danger, welfare. The defendant has been evicted multiple times, works irregular hours, leaving the child unsupervised, and has recently begun an inappropriate relationship with a wealthy older man, clearly seeking financial gain rather than genuine companionship. Heat floods Kira's cheeks. They're making her sound like a gold digger, a negligent parent, a woman who uses her child as bait for rich men. Her lawyer objects weakly, but the damage spreads like spilled wine on white fabric. Then Connor takes the stand, playing the role of concerned father with Oscar-worthy performance. He talks about his journey toward sobriety, his newfound stability, his deep love for my daughter that distance couldn't diminish. Lies. Every word. But he delivers them with such conviction that even Kira almost believes him. I made mistakes, Connor admits, actually managing tears. But I've changed. Naomi deserves a father who can provide for her properly, not a mother who drags her from couch to couch, restaurant to restaurant, living off charity. The courtroom murmurs approval. Connor's performance is flawless. Then Adrian stands up. The entire room goes silent. Kira's heart stops as he walks toward the witness stand, his presence commanding attention even in this formal setting. Your Honor, I'd like to testify on behalf of Miss Douglas. The judge looks surprised. Are you an expert witness, Mr. Adrian Holt? And no, Your Honor. I'm just someone who's had the privilege of witnessing true parental devotion. Connor's lawyer jumps up. Objection. This man has no standing. Overruled. Mr. Holt, you may proceed. Adrian's voice carries across the courtroom like a bell. I've seen this woman fight for her child with every breath in her body. She works 2 jobs, sacrifices sleep, goes without meals so Naomi can eat. She is stronger than any parent I've ever known. Gasps ripple through the courtroom. Kira stares at Adrian through her tears, overwhelmed by his public declaration. But Connor's smirk never wavers. He's holding something back, some final card he hasn't played yet. Connor's lawyer rises with predatory confidence, clutching a manila folder like it contains the secrets of the universe. Your Honor, while Mr. Holt's testimony is touching, it overlooks crucial evidence about Miss Douglas's pattern of deception. He approaches the bench, documents rustling. We'd like to submit Exhibit A, the birth certificate for Naomi Douglas. Kira's blood turns to ice water. No, not that. Not here. As you can see, my client Connor Westfield is clearly named as the father. However, there's an interesting discrepancy in the child's surname. Judge Martinez examines the document, her eyebrows rising slightly. The child's last name is listed as Holt. The courtroom erupts. Whispers become gasps, become full conversations, as people crane their necks to see the papers being passed between lawyers. Adrian's face goes completely white. That's impossible. Connor's lawyer continues his assault. Miss Douglas gave her child the surname Holt, without legal justification or paternal acknowledgement. This demonstrates a clear pattern of fraudulent behavior and identity manipulation. I can explain, Kira starts, but her lawyer grabbed her arm. Why would she choose that particular name, you might ask? Connor's lawyer paces, like a predator circling wounded prey. Perhaps because she knew Mr. Holt was a wealthy man whose surname would provide social advantages for her child. Perhaps because this relationship isn't as recent as she's claimed. Adrian stares at Kira across the courtroom, his expression a mixture of confusion, hurt, and something that might be betrayal. You gave her my name? Why would you? Your Honor, Kira's lawyer interrupts desperately. My client needs time to address these allegations properly. But the damage is done. The courtroom buzzes with speculation about secret affairs, hidden paternity, elaborate cons designed to trap wealthy men. Judge Martinez bangs her gavel. Order. Mr. Holt, are you the biological father of this child? I don't know. I thought. We only met 6 months ago. Connor leans back in his chair, satisfaction radiating from every pore. This is exactly what he wanted: chaos, confusion, doubt poisoning every relationship Kira has tried to build. Your Honor, Connor's lawyer says smoothly, we request DNA testing to determine the true paternity of Naomi Holt, or should we say Naomi Westfield? The question hangs in the air like a noose, ready to destroy whatever hope Kira had left. Most families break under secrets like this. Would yours survive? Subscribe now, because the next twist will leave you breathless. The courthouse bathroom becomes Kira's temporary sanctuary, cold tile and harsh lighting better than facing the chaos she's unleashed. Her hands shake as she grips the sink, staring at her reflection like it might provide answers to questions she's not ready to face. The door bursts open. Adrian enters without knocking, his expression a storm of emotions she can't begin to decode. Why does my daughter carry my family's name? The question comes out raw, desperate. She's not. Don't lie to me anymore. Adrian's voice cracks. 8 years, Kira. If she's mine, if we had something before. We didn't. The words tumble out in a rush. We never met before Romano's. I swear on everything I love. Then why? I work for the Elena Holt Children's Foundation. The confession tastes like broken glass. 5 years ago, when I was pregnant and terrified, and Connor had already started disappearing. Your wife's charity helped single mothers with medical expenses. Adrian goes very still. Elena's foundation. I was so grateful. She was so kind to me, even though I was just another case file. When Connor showed up drunk to the hospital, screaming about how he wasn't ready to be a father, threatening to sign away his rights, Kira's voice breaks. I panicked. The bathroom's fluorescent light flickers overhead, casting shadows that make Adrian look older, more fragile. The birth certificate required a father's name. Connor was passed out in the waiting room, and I thought about your wife, how she'd held my hand and told me every child deserves dignity. So I wrote Holt instead of Westfield. I wanted Naomi to have a name that meant something good. You committed fraud. I committed an act of love. Tears streamed down Kira's face. I gave my daughter a name connected to kindness instead of abandonment, to hope instead of shame. Adrian leans against the bathroom wall like he's been physically struck. My wife, she never mentioned. She helped hundreds of women. I was nobody special. But you remembered her. She saved us. The foundation paid for Naomi's delivery, covered complications when my blood pressure spiked. Without Elena's charity, we might have both died. The silence stretches between them, thick with revelation and regret. I wanted to tell you, Kira whispers. Every time you were kind to Naomi, every time she lit up when you said her name, I wanted to explain why it meant so much to her. She thinks she's connected to you somehow. She is connected to me. Adrian's voice grows stronger. Just not the way Connor's making it sound. Will you forgive me? Adrian studies her face, seeing past the desperation to something deeper. You honored my wife's memory. You gave your daughter a name that represents everything Elena believed in: protecting children, supporting mothers, choosing love over fear. Would you have lied to protect your child? Comment yes or no and defend your answer. The custody hearing resumes with the tension of a ticking bomb. Connor, his real name apparently Darius Westfield, another lie in a lifetime of deception, sits straighter now, empowered by the chaos he's created. His lawyer attacks with surgical precision. Your Honor, Miss Douglas has admitted to identity fraud, forging legal documents, and manipulating Mr. Holt's emotions by exploiting his connection to his deceased wife's charity. This demonstrates a pattern of calculated deception that calls her fitness as a parent into serious question. Each word hits Kira like a hammer blow. Around the courtroom, she feels the weight of judgment, strangers deciding whether she deserves to keep her daughter based on one desperate decision made in a hospital room 8 years ago. Furthermore, the lawyer continues, Miss Douglas has involved an innocent child in her schemes, teaching her to lie by omission, to accept gifts and attention under false pretenses. Objection. Kira's public defender finally finds her voice. Counsel is making assumptions about the child's knowledge. Too late. Naomi, who's been sitting quietly in the hallway, pushes through the courtroom doors. Her small face is streaked with tears, her voice carrying to every corner of the room. Mama, am I a lie too? The question shatters something fundamental in the space. Kira reaches for her daughter, but Naomi steps back, confusion and hurt written across her features. Everyone's saying my name is fake, that you made me pretend to be someone I'm not. Naomi's voice gets smaller with each word. Did you lie about who I am? Before Kira can respond, Adrian drops to his knees in front of Naomi, right there in the middle of the courtroom. His voice carries clearly as he speaks to the 8-year-old whose world is crumbling around her. No, sweetheart. You are not a lie. You are the most honest, beautiful, true thing I've ever met. He takes her small hands in his larger ones. Your mama gave you a special name, one that connects you to someone who helped many children just like you. You are the truth that saved me. Darius laughs coldly from his seat. How touching. But emotional manipulation won't change the facts. Sit down, Mr. Westfield. Judge Martinez commands sharply. But Darius isn't finished. He stands, straightening his expensive suit with the confidence of a man holding all the cards. Your Honor, if Miss Douglas's pattern of deception isn't enough to concern this court, perhaps her complete history will be more persuasive. He nods to his lawyer, who produces another folder. I have documentation of gambling debts, loan shark payments, and activities that paint a very different picture of this so-called devoted mother. The folder lands on the table with the sound of a closing coffin lid. Activities that certain media outlets would find very interesting indeed. The courtroom falls dead silent as Darius's threat hangs in the air like poison gas. Media exposure. Kira's past laid bare for the world to judge. Every mistake, every desperate choice, every moment of weakness turned into headlines and hashtags. Judge Martinez looks between the legal teams, clearly weighing the implications of whatever bombshell Darius is threatening to detonate. Then Adrian stands, not at his seat in the gallery. He walks straight to the front of the courtroom, past the bar that separates spectators from participants, and positions himself directly beside Kira's table. Your Honor, I'd like to file a motion. Darius's lawyer looks confused. Your Honor, Mr. Holt has no legal standing in this proceeding. Actually, he does. Adrian's voice cuts through the confusion like a blade. I'm petitioning for joint guardianship of Naomi Douglas Holt. The courtroom erupts. Reporters scramble for their phones. Spectators gasp and whisper. Even Judge Martinez looks stunned. Mr. Holt, this is highly irregular. Your Honor, I've watched this woman sacrifice everything for her daughter's well-being. I've seen her work herself to exhaustion, go without food so Naomi could eat, sleep on friends' couches rather than accept charity she felt she didn't deserve. Adrian's voice grows stronger with each word. Naomi carries my family name because her mother chose hope over despair, dignity over shame. I want to honor that choice. Darius explodes from his chair. This is insane. You can't just buy yourself a family because you're lonely and rich. I'm not buying anything. Adrian turns to face his accuser, his voice dropping to a dangerous quiet. You abandoned them when they had nothing. When Kira counted her last $5 in a restaurant, wondering how to feed her daughter, where were you? I stood by them when they had only hope left to hold on to. You don't know what you're getting into, Darius snarls. She's got debts, secrets, a past that would make your dead wife spin in her grave. The words are barely out of his mouth before Adrian moves. Not violently, but with the controlled fury of a man who's heard enough. Don't you dare speak about my wife. Elena spent her life helping women exactly like Kira. Women abandoned by men exactly like you. Judge Martinez slams her gavel repeatedly. Order. Everyone sit down. But the damage is done. The truth is out. Adrian's public declaration, Darius's ugly threats, the custody battle that's become a war between two very different kinds of men. After reviewing all evidence and testimony, Judge Martinez says when quiet finally returns, I'm awarding primary custody to Miss Douglas, with Mr. Westfield granted supervised weekend visitation. Furthermore, I'm approving Mr. Holt's petition for joint guardianship, pending completion of standard background checks. The gavel falls like thunder. Gasps, tears, applause. The courtroom explodes in a mixture of shock, relief, and disbelief. Kira collapses into her chair, overwhelmed by a victory she never dared hope for. 3 months later, life assumes a rhythm that feels almost too good to be real. Naomi takes singing lessons twice a week at the conservatory downtown, Adrian's quiet suggestion that bloomed into her daughter's newest passion. Their tiny apartment still isn't much, but it's theirs, and the eviction notices have stopped coming. Kira works 1 job now, instead of 2. Adrian insisted on helping with expenses, and after months of stubborn refusal, she finally accepted, not as charity, but as family support. Because that's what they've become, somehow. A family built from fragments and held together by choice rather than blood. Evening dinners at Adrian's penthouse have become tradition. Naomi sets the table with theatrical precision while Kira and Adrian cook together, their conversations flowing easier now that the biggest secrets are out in the open. Mama, watch this. Naomi climbs onto the piano bench and starts playing a simple melody she learned that day. Her voice, pure and sweet, fills the apartment with hope. Adrian listens from the kitchen doorway, his expression soft in a way Kira never saw during those first careful months of getting to know each other. Later, after Naomi falls asleep on the couch during a movie, Adrian carries her to what's become her room in his penthouse, not officially, but practically. The space has evolved from guest room to child sanctuary, complete with art supplies and a growing collection of books. As he tucks her in, Naomi's sleepy voice stops him at the doorway. Adrian, can I tell you a secret? Of course, sweetheart. I used to wish for a daddy who would listen to my songs and not leave when things got hard. Her words come out drowsy, but sincere. I wished for you before I knew you existed. Adrian's throat tightens. He kneels beside her bed, smoothing the covers. Maybe I wish for you too. I just didn't know what I was wishing for. Do you think wishes come true if you're really, really good? I think wishes come true when you're brave enough to believe in them. The next morning, everything changes again. Adrian's assistant calls during his morning coffee, voice tight with urgency. There's a letter for you, sir. Hand delivered. No return address. The envelope is expensive paper, the kind used for important documents or formal announcements. Inside, a single sheet with words that make his blood run cold. You don't know the full truth about Naomi Douglas Holt. Ask your father. Some secrets run deeper than custody battles. A concerned observer. What if the person you trust most is hiding everything? Stay with us, because this ending isn't an ending at all. The Elder Holt study hasn't changed in 30 years. Dark wood paneling, leather-bound books, the smell of expensive cigars, and older secrets. Adrian finds his father exactly where he expected, behind the massive mahogany desk that served as the family command center for 3 generations. Father, we need to talk. The old man looks up from his papers, and Adrian sees something he's never noticed before: guilt. It flickers across his father's weathered features like candlelight. There, and gone so quickly it might have been imagination. About the girl? About what you know that I don't. Adrian places the anonymous letter on the desk between them. About secrets that run deeper than custody battles. His father's hand still on the documents he'd been reviewing. For a long moment, the only sound is the grandfather clock ticking in the corner, counting seconds that feel like years. Sit down, son. I'll stand. Then you'll fall when you hear what I have to tell you. The Elder Holt's voice carries weight that Adrian's never heard before. There are things about your family and hers that were never meant to intersect. What things? The old man opens his desk drawer with hands that shake slightly, age or something else. He withdraws a folder, thick with documents and photographs that look decades old. Your mother and I, we weren't always the people you knew. Before the business, before the respectability, we made choices. Hard choices. Necessary choices. He looks up at Adrian with eyes that suddenly seem ancient. The foundation Elena started? It wasn't just charity work. What are you talking about? It was atonement. The word hangs between them like a sword. Adrian reaches for the folder, but his father's hand clamps down on it. Some secrets are buried for good reasons, Adrian. Some stones are better left unturned. Not when they involve Naomi. Not when they involve Kira. Especially when they involve them. Miles away, Kira sits beside Naomi's bed in their small apartment, watching her daughter sleep. The evening light filters through thin curtains, casting everything in golden warmth. This moment, this perfect, fragile peace, feels both eternal and impossibly precious. As long as I have $5, she whispers to the sleeping child, I'll fight for you. No matter what secrets try to tear us apart. In Adrian's father's study, the unopened folder sits between 2 generations of Holt men, holding truths that could shatter everything they've built. But some stories don't end with revelations. Some stories end with the choice of whether to seek them at all. This isn't just a story, it's a warning. Secrets never stay buried. Subscribe now, or risk being the last to know when the next truth explodes.